The Ali people out of the dressing room, and all of the questions will be answered. This is an awesome power of George Foreman against the violent boxing skills of Muhammad Ali. It's age against youth. The experience of Muhammad Ali against the youth and brute force on blinding speed. You can hear the band beginning to strike up in the background as Ali moves to the ring. This is what Muhammad Ali lives for. This is the man's life. This may be a historic event. Muhammad Ali coming into the boxing ring for the last time. Should Muhammad Ali retire, this will be, what you're seeing now, a very historic event. Now here comes the heavyweight champion of the world, George Foreman, jogging out. George Foreman decked out in his red robe, coming in with his people.
No one in the press ever saw Mobutu, and he didn't come to the fight. He watched the fight on a closed circuit. It was the only closed circuit in Zaire, and it was in his palace. He was terribly afraid of assassination, I think. Now, this stadium was a true arena for gladiators. Its floor, the floor you could not see beneath the floor, was covered with blood. That blood had been washed away, but the effect of the blood was still there as part of the atmosphere.
There was a lot of talk about the possibility of rain. I don't think the weather could be any more beautiful than it is tonight. And Ali is getting the people to chant, Ali Boumaier. That means Ali kill him.
The atmosphere before the bell rang for that first round was as intense as any I ever recall.
Look at this now as they stare. Muhammad Ali beginning to talk to George Foreman. They're really putting the stare on each other. George Foreman has that serious look. Ali definitely talking to him. Look at the stare on George Foreman. Look at Ali give him the word. So the stage is set. We're just about ready to begin. Round one. This time the championship is at stake, and $5 million will be paid to both fighters. Ali ready, Foreman ready. We're waiting for the opening bell. Here we go, Ali quickly across the round. Round one, Ali bouncing around, shifting left for right. George moves slow, Ali gets the first punch in, a light right hand taken on the forehead by George Foreman, the champion. Foreman moving slow, trying to stalk his man. Ali looks like he's ready to go here. He's not staying away, he's going after his man. Foreman comes in, Foreman a bit cautious in the first round, looking to drop that left hook. Far corner. There's that left uppercut and jab to the body of Muhammad Ali. Ali tries to hang on to the head of George Foreman. Foreman dances now. Moves Ali with a right hand lead again. As Foreman slightly confused with that right hand lead, which I haven't seen too many times before. Ali...
A right hand lead, which means that you throw your right without countering. You throw it first. You throw it like a jab, but you throw it like there. That has to travel that extra distance across the shoulders. Professionals will very rarely use a right-hand lead because it's a terribly dangerous punch to throw since you are open to a counter with a left hook. And fighters, since they work in milliseconds, can see a right coming much faster than a jab. Nobody had thrown a right-hand lead at Foreman in 2 years. And in training camp, none of his sparring partners for $50 a day was going to start throwing right-hand leads at him because it's a great insult to a top professional when you throw a right-hand lead at him. It suggests that he's slow enough that you can hit him with it. And instead, Ali figured out the one punch Foreman's not prepared for is a right-hand lead. He's expecting me to dance. I'm not going to dance. I'm going to hit him with right hand. I'm going to knock him out in the first round. Ali threw 12 right-hand leads. I don't think he had told anyone he was going to do it. I think he may have debated about whether he was going to do it up to the last moment. And the only thing is he didn't knock Foreman down and he didn't knock him out. Instead, Foreman went crazy.
That punch did no damage. That one did. Two wild right hands taken on the side of the head of Muhammad Ali. There's a real strong right hand just underneath the heart. And Muhammad Ali is taking some punishment now. About 8 seconds left in the round.
Bell rang. Ali went back to the corner. He finally, the nightmare he'd been awaiting in the ring had finally come to visit him. He was in the ring with a man he could not dominate, who was stronger than him, who was not afraid of him, who was going to try to knock him out, and who punched harder than Ali could punch. And this man was determined and unstoppable. And Ali had a look on his face that I'll never forget. It's the only time I ever saw fear in Ali's eyes. Ali looked as if he looked into himself and said, all right, this is the moment. This is what you've been waiting for. This is that hour. And do you have the guts? And he kind of nodded to himself like, you got to get it together, boy. You really got to get it together. And you are going to get it together. You will get it together. He nodded some more, looking at it as if he were looking into the eyes of his maker. And then he turned to the crowd and he went, Ali Beaumelier. And 100,000 people all yelled back, Ali Beaumelier. And this huge reverberation of the crowd came back into the ring. And Ali picked it up almost as if, these are my people. This is what I'm here for. All right, the time has come. I'm going to find a way to master this man.
Ali tries to tie him up. No real damage done in that exchange.
Foreman, like everyone else, had assumed that Ali would dance. And so Ali now went to the ropes and went into the rope-a-dope. And a lot of people thought at that moment the fight was over, especially on television when they saw it, because it looked like Foreman was now killing a very weak Ali.
Now, you don't go to the ropes. And there he was, leaning way back. I wrote about it as if, I think the phrase I used was, it was like a man leaning out of windows trying to see if there's something on his roof. And, you know, taking up, but you couldn't really see then. Here were these great broadsides going at him, and it looked as though he was being set up for the kill. And it happened so quickly and so abruptly that I shouted to Norman, the fix is in. You know, that somehow he's supposed to go down in the first or the second. Ropes is halfway house to the floor. It just looked as though he had to cave in.
Awkward, but very powerful hook. Both hands, left hook, and what would really be
They became so basic at that point that they were like two kids having a fight. And for that round, and for the next round, and for the next round, Ali lay against the ropes in the rope-a-dope. And he kept talking to Foreman. And it was extraordinary. You had to be close to see it, but it was all because it was intimate. And Foreman was throwing these prodigious punches that the sparring partners had thrown. And Ali swung like a man in the rigging. He'd go all the way back. He'd slide out. He'd come in and out of it like that. And occasionally he'd get hit. And he'd say, George, you disappoint me. You don't hit as hard as I thought you would. George, you're not hitting hard enough. You're not breaking popcorn, George. You're just not hitting. And Foreman's insane with rage. And whanging at him and whanging at him and whanging at him. Powerful, powerful, powerful. And middle of the fifth round, Foreman was worn out. He had punched himself out, taken 3 rounds.
Ali picks up a little bit, about 40 seconds left in round number 5. Good twist left, the combination by Ali. Lands in the head of Foreman. Foreman with that right. Ali backs up Foreman. Backs him up in his back. Foreman setting it. Foreman tries to look. Ali swung to the right. Foreman gets back to the left.
Suddenly, Muhammad Ali came off the ropes and he hit him a right. And you could see the sweat just pour off, just like a fountain come off Foreman's face. And you suddenly realized there was some design in this madness. You know, I then turned to Norman, I remember, and I see he must have been somewhat puzzled, but I said, the succubus has got him. Referring back to this woman with the trembling hands that I'd been told by the witch doctors were going to touch Foreman and destroy him.
Of Ali to let the man punch himself out. 30 seconds left in round 8. Very even fight. Ali, a sneaky right hand. Another sneaky right hand. This time